Begin the current Daf Yomi Beruchas Daf Nun Ches. Our shiur corresponds to Bekalzich and Yecheskel, Torah Anytime, and Daf Achayim, where we continue with the Daf. The previous Daf was discussing the punishment of Bavel, because it was talking about related to that of the Markoilis. We had in the previous, the halacha we were discussing for the Mishnah was if someone sees Markoilis, he says that blessed is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's patient, and as the Mishnah said, Sha'okar Akamer Tzein, if it gets uprooted. So in that discussion came in, when we go to Bavel, you make 5 brachas, because one of the brachas is talking about Markoilis that was there in Bavel. So on that, the Gemara continues on that theme, on the top of our Amid, regarding this idea of Bavel being cursed. So Amar Yommi ben Elazar says, Niskala Bavel gets cursed, Niskala Shcheneha, so the neighbors also get cursed. Meaning, Oila Rasha Oila Shchene, woe to a wicked one and woe to its neighbors. So not only when Bavel gets destroyed, but the neighboring countries also get ruined. Niskala Shemron, but the Shemron, Samaria, which is by Eretz Yisrael, when that gets cursed, this Baruch Shcheneha, that actually its neighbors get blessed. As the Gemara explains, the skala Bavel gets cursed, and the skala Shcheneha, so its neighbors get cursed. So it says a pasuk in Yeshaya. It says Hashem says regarding Bavel, v'samtia, and I will place it l'moirish kaped to an estate of wild birds, of agme mayim, and pools of water. I mean to say, wild animals are going to come and destroy the areas that are there, even the neighboring areas of Bavel, because they're going to be wild animals and they just get out of control. Neskala Shemron, but when Shemron, Eretz Yisrael, when parts of it gets destroyed, this Baruch Shcheneha, actually its neighbors get blessed. Like the pasuk says in Micha regarding the destruction, v'samti Shemron, I will make Shemron le'ehasada, to a heap in the field, le'mitte karem v'gomer, to a planting in the vineyard, etc. Which, it's going to be destroyed from the Eretz Yisrael, but that's going to be pleasurable for all the neighbors because you're going to be able to plant vineyards, so it's not going to be settled by the Jewish people, but all the neighbors are going to go ahead and enjoy that. So you see the difference between when Bavel is destroyed, that then the neighbors also get the problems, whereas when the Jewish people, when Shemron gets destroyed, actually it's like you could plant things over there, it actually becomes a blessing for the neighbors. Going back to the previous daf, where we quoted a teaching from Rav Hamnuna, the Gemara tells another teaching, V'amar Rav Hamnuna. Another teaching from Rav Hamnuna, unrelated to what we're discussing now, but continue on brachas of, like the title, the parak of Haraya. We continue with those types of brachas of Haraya. Someone sees Uchlasi Yisrael, the multitudes of the Jewish people, which, as we're going to shortly explain, when you have a throng of 600,000 Jews, there's a bracha that you actually say. It's halacha, Baruch, blessed is Hashem, that's Chacham HaRazim. He's the sage of the secrets, meaning to say he knows what's in every single person's heart from all the multitudes. That's a pretty big thing, and that's something we bless God for that. Now, whereas when someone sees multitudes of idol worshippers, he says, and this is actually halacha, he says the pasuk in Yirmiyah, it says, Baisha imchem b'gomer, that your mother is embarrassed, where the one who gave birth to you is disgraced, and the end of the nations is going to be desolate and a desert. That's the wording that you say when you see Uchlase of Akum. Tanamon in the Brisa, continue on this theme. Haraya Uchlase Yisrael. If someone sees throngs of Jewish people, Imri says, Baruch Chacham HaRazim, blessed is God who's the sage of the secrets. Why? What does this mean? So the Brisa explains. Shein daitim dem zelazeh, because their minds are not the same. Vein partzefein dem zelazeh, and neither are their faces, and still God knows what's in every single person's mind. Therefore, we make that bracha. Now, Ben Zayma Ra'ach Lasa, the Gemara tells the story that Ben Zayma, he saw a throng of Jewish people. Al Gav Maila B'Harabais, when he was on the steps of the Harabais of the Temple Mount. Amar, he said, first of all, the bracha, Baruch Chacham HaRazim, blessed is God, that's the sage of the secrets. And then he said, Baruch Shabaruch HaLeilul Shamsheni, he says, blessed is God who created all these people to serve me. Because, as the Gemara is going to explain, they plow, they plant, and I come to the grocery store and I find a piece of bread ready for me. All the people, they're here to serve me. As the Gemara says, Hu Hayayim, Ben Zema used to say the following idea. When it says Hu Hayayim, it's always that this was a refrain he would always say. This is one of his favorite teachings. Kami Yagiyas Yaga Adam Rishon. It says, how much effort did the first man, Adam Rishon, have to put in? Until he could find a piece of bread to eat. He had to be charash, he had to plow, and you're going to recognize all these by the malachas that are forbidden to be done on Shabbos, which are the malachas of making bread. Charash, he had to plow. V'zor, he had to plant. V'katz, he had to reap, which is to cut the grain. V'amar, he had to gather. V'dash, he had to thresh. V'zor, he had to winnow, which is when you throw up and then the chaff gets separated from the wheat. Ubar, he had to select. V'tachan and grind, v'hikrid and sift, v'losh and knead, v'afa and bake. Finally, he was able to have a piece of bread. I get up in the morning. Guess what? I have a slice of bread right there ready for me. Look how amazing that is. It says, so to become Yigiz Yoga Admiration. How much effort did the first man have to put in? Until he had an article of clothing to wear. Gazes, he had to shear the animal, meaning that's to cut off the wool. V'lovan, he had to make it white by cleaning it. V'nipitz, he had to disentangle the actual pieces of the animal's wool get stuck on one and the other. V'tava, he had to then spin it into thread. V'arig, then he had to weave it. And then finally he had a garment to wear. I get up, I go into the suit store, I find all these things prepared in front of me. Look how amazing it is. Hashem created all these people to serve me. Moreover, it says, it says all the nations of the world, they're very diligent and they come to the opening of my house. He says, I find all these things in front of me, where he was a very wealthy person. Everyone, all the salesmen would come to sell merchandise to him. He says, look, I open up my door and look what I have. I don't have to do any of the work. And all these people are bringing all these things to me. Similarly, a similar type of a day, the same Ben Zayma used to say, that what does a good guest say? He says, look what this homeowner, look what this host did, how much effort he put in for me. How much flesh, how much meat he puts in front of me. How much wine he puts in front of me. Look at all these beautiful rolls he puts in front of me. All the effort that the host put in, he put in the effort only because of me. And that's the attitude a person's supposed to have for the world. Look how much goodness there is in the world. God, look what he gave for me. Now, what does a bad guest say? What did the host already do for me already? What did I eat? I ate one piece of bread. I ate one piece of meat. I drank one cup of wine. All the effort that the host put in, he did it for his wife, for his kids. For me, what did he do already? What was the big deal that he did? It says that the Gemara on a good guess. What does the pasuk say? A pasuk in Iyov. Zachar, remember, kisaski pa'olei, to extol, to give praise for his work. Ashasayra anoshim, that people see, mean to say what he sees from God, he praises. Says Hashem, look, wow, amazing, look what you do for me. What does it say regarding a bad guess? The pasuk in Iyov that says l'chein yeruhu anoshim. But again, a very important pasuk. People are going to be afraid of such a person. He doesn't see people that are sagacious, meaning people are afraid of him because he's not makar type. He says, big deal, what I eat already, what I get already. So people are afraid of him because that type of a person is an ingrate, and therefore that's the bad guest. And Ben Zayma appreciated everything that was there, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was taking care of him. Now, continuing this theme regarding uchlase, by being with throngs and multitudes of 600,000 people, the Gemara brings a pasuk in Shmuel Aleph. It says, "Va'ish b'mei Shaul," the man in the days of Shaul HaMelech, Zakan, he was elderly. Baba Noshim, he came with men, and this was the end of the pasuk that says that David was the son of a man from Ephrat, from Beis Lechem Yehuda, and his name was Yishai, and they had 8 sons. And this is the end of that pasuk. So what this is saying regarding Yishai, that he was Baba Nashim, some are Rava, some say it was Rav Zvid, some say it was Rav Oishia, Yishai Abed David, this refers to Yishai, the father of David HaMelech, Sheyatza Bu'uchlasim, he would go out with multitudes. V'nichnis Bu'uchlasim, he would come in with multitudes. V'darsh Bu'uchlasim, when he would get up to lecture, he would lecture to multitudes. Where Amma Ula, he says in Aktin, we have a tradition, there ain't Uchlasim B'Bavel. First of all, there's no Uchlasim B'Bavel, I mean, we don't make such a bracha in Bavel. And Tanu Yoslo in the Braisa, Einu Chalasa B'chusim Mishishim Riboy. When it says that there's multitudes that you make such a bracha, there has to be 600,000 Jews, and then there's actually, that's a halacha l'maisa, you make such a bracha when there's that amount of Jews together in one place. Now turn about in the Braisa, continue on other brachas of Haraya, like is the title of our parak, which are brachas not on food or on tefillah, like we had in the first prakim brachas, but rather when you see something or when you hear something. Haraya Chachmei Yisrael, if someone sees a Jewish sage, so it's actually halacha l'maisa, he says the following bracha. Baruch shechalak michachmasi lireim. Blessed is God that apportioned, that he gave a part michachmasi lireim from his wisdom to those who fear him. Now, chachmei avdikachavim. So too, when you see a very smart non-Jew, an idol worshiper, you say the following halacha. It's a bracha, but it's slightly different, as you'll see. Baruch shenasan michachmasi. Blessed is who gives from his wisdom libriyasav to his creatures, or as the Vilna Gaon brings the gear says that as actually halacha l'maisa labasav adam, to flesh and blood. So you see the difference is that by a Jew it's chalak because we're a part, a chelik l'kamamal. By a non-Jew it's shenasan. He gave off, and we don't call it lirev to those who fear him, but rather to his creatures. So to Rei Malchi Yisrael, if someone sees a Jewish king, it's a halacha oimei says, Baruch shechalak mikvayde lireim. Blessed is God who apportioned from his dignity, from his honor to those who fear him. Malchi avdikachavim, by a non-Jewish king, oimei in this halacha, that Baruch shenasa mikvayde libriyasa, blessed is God who gave from his honor to his creatures, or like we said, the gis is labasav adam, to flesh and blood. Now, moreover, Amar Bechni says, and this is actually halacha too, la'olam yishtadl adam loritz likras Malchi Yisrael. A person should always run towards Jewish kings, and not only to Jewish kings, but even to a non-Jewish king. If you encounter a real king, you should take the opportunity to greet the king. Why? Shem Yizke, because if the person merits to the world to come and he's going to see the dignity of the Melech HaMashiach, Yavchan, he'll be able to differentiate how much greater is the honor of those who get the reward from mitzvahs more than the honor of the nations of the world from their kings in this world. Bein Malchi Yisrael and Malchi Avdei, he'll be able to differentiate between the honor of the Jewish king and the non-Jewish king. Never take that opportunity. See how great is the honor of a king here, and you'll see how much greater is the honor of the Melech HaMashiach in the world to come. Now the Gemara continues with this idea about the honor of kings with the following story. Rav Sheshes, Sagi Narhava, he was a blind person, and the Mefarshim learn out halacha that even if you're blind, you should take the opportunity to be in the presence of a king. Have a ka'azli kula amalek buli abu malka. So the whole oilam, the crowd was getting ready to greet the king who was coming. But come also Rav Sheshes went together with them to greet the king. So Ashkecha Hu Tzeduki, there were the Sadducees, those are the people who denied Torah Shabbat Peh, they were always disgraceful to the rabbis. Amalei said to Rav Sheshes Chatzvi, I understand the whole intact vessels, they go Lanahara to the river because to go ahead and draw water. But Kangi, but the broken vessels, La'ai, where's it going to? In other words, why would it go to the river? So to you, you're blind, you cannot see the king, why are you going to greet the king? So Amalei, Rav Sheshes said to him, Tochazi, come and see, the Yadana Tfeiminach, I know better than you when the king is going to come. So Chalav Gunda Kamaisis, the first group, the first battalion came in front of the king. Kika Avshu, when they were making a loud roar of the people, Amalei Ahu Tzeduki, so the Sadducee said, Asamalka, the king is coming. Amalei Rav Sheshes said, Loikaz, he's not coming. Chalav Gunda Tinyana, so the second troop came, and Kika Avshu, when they were making a lot of noise, Amalei Ahu Tzeduki, the Sadducee says, Hashtaka Asamalka, the king is coming now. Amalei Rav Sheshes said, Loikaz Asamalka, the king's not coming. Chalav Talisai, when the third group came, Kikashaska, when there was silence, Amalei Rav Sheshes said to them, Vade Hashta Asamalka, now the king is coming. Amalei Hu Tzeduki, so the Sadducee said, Menolacha, how do you know this? So Amalei said to him, the Malchusa, the Ara, because the royalty, the kingship in this world, is Ke'in Malchusa, the Rikiya is similar, is a reflection of the kingship of the kingdom that's in heaven. The Chesed, like it says in Pasuk Malachim Aleph, it says regarding Malchusa, the Rikiya, Hashem was telling Eliyahu Navi, say go out, V'mata bahar lefnei Hashem, you're going to stand on the mountain in front of Hashem. V'hine Hashem over, behold, Hashem is going to pass through. V'ruach gedoyla v'chazik mefar karm, there's going to be a great and mighty wind that breaks mountains. U'meshabes lam lefnei Hashem, and it smashes rocks in front of Hashem. But v'loy beruach Hashem, God's not in the wind. V'acha ruach rash, and after the wind is going to be a quake. V'loy berash Hashem, God's not in the quake. V'acha rash eish, and after the quake is going to be fire. Loy beish Hashem, Hashem is not in the fire. V'acha eish, after the fire, after the third group, which was the same thing like with Rav Sheshes, is kol demamadaka, is a thin and still voice. That is when Hashem is going to be there. That's exactly what Rav Sheshes knew is going to be. Malchus Da'ara is after the third group. Now, Kiyas HaMalka, when the king came, Pastor Rav Sheshes so Rav Sheshes opened up and made the bracha that you're supposed to say, which we were talking about in our Gemara, when you see a non-Jewish king. So the Sadducee said to him, so for someone that you don't see kumavarachas, you're making a bracha on them, you don't even see him. How are you making a bracha? Says Gemara, what happened to that Sadducee? Those that say that Chavrai, his friends, kachlinu le'eni, literally means to say that they painted his eye, but it means that they poked at his eyes. Those that say, and again, the eyes are very important over here because he was mocking him that he was blind. Or those that say Rav Sheshes nasan ein boy, Rav Sheshes, although he was blind, he, so to speak, placed his eyes on him, meaning he looked at him, although he couldn't see. V'nasa galsha atzamas, and he became a sack of bones, means to say he totally just passed away. He got depleted. Now, the Gemara continues regarding this idea with another story of this idea of Machusa de Arake, Machusa de Rikiya, that the kingship here in this world parallels and reflects the kingship in heaven. The Gemara brings the story of Reb Shila, Nagdel hu Gavra, he gave lashes to that man, the Baal Mitzvahs, which actually that's a halacha, that if one would do such an inappropriate act, so he gets lashes, he cohabited with an Egyptian woman. So Azal Achal Bekurti Bemalka, so that person went and slandered on Reb Shila to the government. So Amar, he said to the government, there's a man on the Jewish people, that he's judging without permission from the government. So they sent an agent to Reb Shila, and he brought him to the government. So when he came, they said to him, what's this going on that you're giving lashes to a person? You don't have authority to do this. He said to them, he cohabited with a donkey. They said to him, Islach Sahadi, you have witnesses? And he says, yes. Asal Eliyahu Nabi came, Idami Lekinish v'Isid. Eliyahu Nabi appeared as a person, and he gave testimony to the government to help out Reb Shila. So Amrilei, they said to him, if that's the case, Barkatalahu. If he cohabited with a donkey, even the Roman government, they understood. So then he should be killed. Why are you just giving him lashes? So Amalui said to him, look, Anan, us, the Jewish people, from when we went into exile from our land, we don't have permission to kill. Atun, you, the government, whatever you want to do, you could do by him. So Bedina, while they were analyzing his court case from that person, Pasuk Rabbi Shloimy opened up and he said a pasuk in Divrei Yomim Aleph, because he was saved that by the fact that he came up with this good idea and Eliyahu appeared to him and got him off the hook. He said the pasuk in Divrei Yomim Aleph, L'cha Hashem, to you Hashem is Agdula, is the greatness, V'agavura, and the strength, V'goyim, etc., which the Gemara shortly is going to go ahead and expound the rest of this pasuk. But he was saying it because it says Bashamayim of Haaretz, which the Maluch is on heaven and earth. And as the Gemara continues, Amalei, they said to him, Micah Amrit, what are you saying? The government was asking, what are we saying these words? Amalei said to them, this is what I'm saying. Barich Rachman, the blessed is God, the Yav Machusa Ba'ara, they gave a government here on earth, like it says, Bashamayim V'aretz, Kei Machusa Dirikia, like the government in heaven. And he gave you dominion, Medina, and you love justice, and therefore I'm praising God that there's such a government over here. So they said, that the honor of the government is so great to you. So what they did was Yabale Kulfa. So they gave him a stick to enforce punishment as a sign of authority that they're giving him. So Amalei, they said to him, Dundina, you could go ahead and you could judgment now. You have permission now from the government. Now, Kabbanafik, when he was leaving, so Amalei Ahu Gaber, that person that he had given lashes to who tried slandering him, he said, what, God does miracles for lies? Well, it was a lie. I didn't cohabit with a donkey. And then you get Eliyahu Navi to come and testify that I did such a thing? So Hachi Amalei Reb Shila said to him, Rasha, wicked person, Lav Chamari Ikri, are they not called donkeys? The Pasuk says in Yecheskel, Asher Besar Chamarim, that the flesh of donkeys, Besarm is their flesh. From the idol worshippers, their flesh is considered like that of a donkey. They're very animalistic in that way. That's where chumrius comes from, physicality. So therefore, it was true that you had cohabited with a donkey. So Chazi, he saw the Ka'azla Memelu, that now this person was going to tell the government, the Karina Chamari, that he's calling them donkeys. Somebody says, wait a second. Hi, right, if this guy is someone that's chasing after me to kill me. The Torah says, and this is actually halacha, if someone's coming to kill you, hashkim laharga, you get up and you kill him, as a pasuk says, if a thief is digging in a cave under your house to come in, now he's definitely coming to kill you. Why? He knows that if you're going to find him, you're not going to let him just take all your money. So he's coming with that in mind, that if you stand in his way, he's going to kill you. So the Torah tells you, you get up and you kill him first. So Machi Bakulfa, he hit him with the stick, and he killed the person. Amr, he said, since a miracle happened to me with this verse, that was the pasuk he began saying when they asked him what is he saying, that then he said, and therefore that he got saved. So Derishna, he says, I'm going to expound this pasuk now. You Hashem is the greatness. What does it refer to? Zumai Sabarashis. This refers to the acts of creation. Like we said, that's the pasuk, that's the bracha we say. Oisamai Sabarashis. That's told by God's greatness. It says a pasuk in Eiv. Oisa Gedailas. God makes great things, which refers to the Mai Sabarashis. Adein Cheker, without comprehension, means beyond our comprehension. That's referring to Mai Sabarashis. When it says in the pasuk about Gvura that you have the might, Zuyitzis Mitzrayim, that refers to taking out the Jewish people from Egypt. Like it says the pasuk in Shemais. V'yar Yisrael Siyada Gedayla B'Gomer. Although it's used the word Gedayla, but it means God. The Jewish people saw God's great hand, which was His might that He took the Jewish people out of Egypt. So when it says Hagvura, is referring to the Jewish people leaving Egypt. V'Teferes, when it says the splendor, Zuchama Ulavana Sha'amdulay Yeshua. This refers to when the sun and the moon stopped in mid-cycle in the heavens for Yeshua, which was a great splendor for the world, showing God's might. Like it says the pasuk in Yeshua, it says V'yidim Hashemesh, that the sun stood still, B'yirech Amad B'Gomer, and the moon just stopped, etc. That was a miracle that was done for Yeshua. That was Tiferes. When it says the pasuk V'Netzach, the triumph, Zuma Palasa Shalremi, this refers to the downfall of Rome. So it says the pasuk in Yeshaya, it says V'yez, and it spurted out Nitzcham, their lifeblood. But again, it used the word by the downfall of Rome of Nitzcham, which is the same word as Netzach, Abagadai, on my garment, B'Gomer, etc. So therefore, Netzach refers to the downfall of Rome. When it says in the pasuk V'Ahoid, and the glory, Zumachemes Nachli Arnon, this refers to the war, which we mentioned on the previous daf, of the canyons of Arnon, which the reason why it's Hoid is because the Jewish people sang Shira and Hoidah. So Hoid not only means splendor, not only glory, it also means Hoidah, giving thanks. So like it says the pasuk, and we brought this previously in Bamidbar al Ken Yom, therefore should be said B'Sefer Machamas Hashem, in the book of the wars of Hashem, Esvei B'Sufa B'Goyim, which the pasuk there concludes that talks about Nachli Arnon. Therefore, that's what Hoid refers to. Because everything in heaven and earth, what does that refer to? Sisra. This refers to the war of Sisra, which was with Devorah and Barak. Shlomo says a pasuk in Shaftim. It says, "Min Shemayim nilchamu." From the heavens they fought the war for the Jewish people. The stars from their courses. So you see that in even the war was being waged not only on earth, but also Bashemayim. Therefore, Kechal Bashemayim Ba'aretz refers to the war against Sisra. When it says in the pasuk, "L'cha Hashem hamlocha," to you Hashem is kingship. Zumachemes Amalek. This refers to the war against Amalek. It says a pasuk in Shemais. It says Kiyad al Keis Kab, because the hand is on the throne of God, which the pasuk there ends. It's a mochama for Hashem against Amalek. And so you see in the pasuk is talking about it says Kiyad al Keis Kab. The hand is on the throne of God. The throne always refers to the royalty. So in other words, through the war of Hashem against Amalek, his throne will be elevated. So therefore when it says L'cha Hashem HaMamlocha, that refers to the war against Amalek. When it says V'Hamisnaseh and his sovereignty, Zumachem is Gog, this is the war against Gog, that's the name of the king. Umagog, that's the name of the people. So when you say Gog and Magog, Gog is the king, Magog are the people. That's the war against Gog and Magog. So says the pasuk in Yecheskel. Hini alecha Gog. Hashem says, "Behold, I'm against you, Gog." Nasi Roish, he's the sovereign leader of Meshech Betuvel, which that's the names of the nations. So from the fact that I use the terminology of Nasius, it sounds like on the Nasi, that's the leader of Meshech Betuvel. Therefore, that's the Muhammad Hashem has with Misnase of against the Nasi. Misnase is the word Nasi, against the leader, which is that of Gog, with his people of Magog. When it says there in the pasuk L'chol Roish, over every leader, that means to say anyone that becomes appointed to a position of leadership, which means he's getting elevated, Hamisnase L'chol Roish, that is decreed and instituted by God. Where Amar of Chana bar Rav Amar Yechon says, Afilu Reish, even the head of Gargisa, of the pit, mean to say the one that's in charge of when people could go ahead and dig the pit to get the water to water their field. So you have someone in charge of that. That was min shemayim anilei. That was decreed and appointed from heaven. So any position of leadership, any presidential or whatever leadership that there is all decreed. Even the lowest down, even the guy who's just in charge of who should water their field first, that was decreed. That was l'chol reish. Now, that wasn't one interpretation. In the Bryce, we learned in the name of Rabbi Kiva a different interpretation of this pasuk. When it says L'cha Hashem Agdula, to you Hashem is greatness, Zukris Yamsef, that refers to the splitting of the sea. Vagavur, when it says and the might, Zumakas Bacharis, that was the killing of the firstborns. Vataferis and the splendor, Zumat Torah, that's the giving of the Torah. Vanetzach and the triumph of Zu Yerushalayim. Vahoid and the glory, Zu Beis Hamikdash, that refers to the Beis Hamikdash. Now, continue to Beis, we continue with other brachas that are Beruchas Daf, which are these types of brachas that we're mentioning here in this parak, and they're also brachas of haraya, which is the theme of our parak of brachas that you make when you see something. Haraya bati Yisrael b'yishum. Someone sees Jewish houses when they're settled. So it's actually a halacha. Omer, he says, Baruch is blessed, Matzav, the one who establishes Gevul Almana, the boundaries of the widow. So Rashi explains that would be like in the times of the second Beis Hamikdash, where although they were widowed from the first time, but now Hashem then establishes their homes. Now in the second times of the second Beis Hamikdash, and therefore if you see the houses that are settled, you make this bracha. Now when they're destroyed, you say Baruch Daina Emes, blessed is the true judge. That's regarding Jewish homes. Now, Bate Abdi Kechavim B'Yishuv, and if you see the non-Jewish, the idolaters' houses when they're settled, so actually the halacha is brought, you say a pasuk in Mishlei, Beis Geim, the arrogant houses, Yisach Hashem, Hashem uproots. And when they're destroyed, you say the pasuk in Tehillim, which is also brought in halacha, Kel Nekamas Hashem, the God of vengeance is Hashem, Kel Nekamas, the God of vengeance, he appears that he destroyed the houses of these idolaters. Some say it's specifically regarding houses of worship, but this is a halacha that's brought. Now the Gemara brings a story related to this about Jewish houses being destroyed. Ula v'Rav Chizda, they were going on the road. Kimata Pischa debei Rav Chana bar Chanilai. When they came to the entryway of the house of Rav Chana bar Chanilai, where it used to be, so Nagid Rav Chizda v'Isnach. So Rav Chizda, he sighed and he groaned. So Amalei Ula said to him, "My kamasnachas, why are you sighing?" But Rav says, "Anocha sighing, sheveres chatzi gufish aladim. It breaks half a person's body." Like it says the pasuk in Yecheskel. It says, "Va'ata ben Adam, and you, the son of man, he'anach, that you sigh, b'shivrin masnayim b'goyim, with the shattering of your loins." Now the loins is by a person's thigh. That's basically half of the person. When the person sighs, he's groaning, he's worried, he has all these anxieties, it breaks half a person's body. And Rabbi Yochanan, he says, Af kol guf v'shaladim. He says, actually, it destroys the entire body of a person. Shlomo says, the pasuk in Yechezkel says, why it's going to be, ki emer when they're going to tell you, amata nenech, why are you sighing? V'mart, you're going to say, el shmu kiba, because of the tidings that I heard, which were bad news, v'namas kol lev, and the entire heart is going to be melted. So you see that sighing is not a good thing. Why are you sighing? It's harmful for the person's body. Amalei said to him, how can I not sigh? Base of a house to have a base shitin af yasa b'mama. They had 60 bakers during the daytime. V'shitin af yasa b'leil. They had 60 bakers at nighttime. V'afrin l'chaman detzarch. And in this house they baked whoever needed something to eat. V'loi shaku yodim in kisa. And the host, this person's house of Rav Chana bar Chanilai, he never took his hand out of his wallet. Why? The stuff he thought, Dilma asi ani bar tov. Maybe a poor person, the son of noble people from a wealthy family, is going to come. By the time I put my hand into my wallet, he's going to be embarrassed, he's going to leave. So he never took his hand out of his wallet, so anyone comes right away could give him money. V'su, moreover, have a psichel arba bavi. In his house there was 4 open entryways, la beruchas daf to the 4 directions of the world. V'chol dava ayel kafin. Whoever came in hungry, nafik hisava, he went out satiated, he went out satisfied. In a famine, in the year of hunger, they would throw out wheat and barley out of the house. Whoever was embarrassed to take during the daytime, they would come and take at nighttime. And hashta nafel betala, now it's lying there in a pile of rubble and in ruins of I'm not going to sigh. So he said to him, Ula said to Rav Chizdam, he says, so he said, Hacham Rabbi Yochanan, this is what Rabbi Yochanan says. From the day that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, there's a decree on the houses of the righteous that it's going to be destroyed. Like says the Pasuk in Yeshaya. But Oznai, he says, in my ears, says Yeshaya, I heard Hashem Tzavakis, Hashem the Lord of hosts, that he said, if it's not going to be, but rather what's going to be, Batam Rab, many houses, Lashama, you are going to be desolate. Gedolim B'Toivim, that are great ones and good ones, Me'ein Yoshev, without inhabitants. This is a decree. And so Tuvam Rabbi Yochanan, he says, but Asa Kadosh Baruch Hu lachzir liyeshuvim, but God's going to ultimately bring them back to their settled state. Shemak, it says a pasuk in Tehillim, Shir HaMalos, a song of ascents, which it doesn't say there in the pasuk LaDavid. Habaytchem Hashem, those who trust in Hashem, Kahar Tzion, like the mountain of Zion. What is you saying that trusting Hashem like Mount Zion? What does that mean? Mahar Tzion, just like Mount Tzion. Asra Kadosh Baruch Hu lachzir liyeshuv, Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring it back because the Beis Hamikdash is going to be rebuilt. Apatem shel tzaddikim, so too the houses of the righteous, which those are the ones that are Beitchem Hashem. Asra Kadosh Baruch Hu lachzir liyeshuv, God is going to bring them back to be in an inhabited state. Now, Chazi Delay Miyashav Daita. But however, although he told this to him, he saw that he wasn't not calmed down by this. He was still bothered by this. Amalei said to him, it's sufficient that the servant should be like the master. The Beis Hamikdash is destroyed, which is the house of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It definitely makes sense that the house of the servants of the righteous should also be destroyed. Now, we're going to learn the brayso, continuing on these other brachas of, like we're saying, of haraya. When you see something, what brachas you make. So this halacha, haraya kivri yisrael. If someone sees the graves of the Jewish people, you go to a cemetery, or you make the following bracha. Baruch blessed, asher yotze eschem adem, that he formed you with judgment, meaning when he created you, yotzer eschem bedin, he made it with justice. V'zon eschem bedin, and he fed you with justice. V'kilkol eschem bedin, and he sustained you with justice. V'asav eschem bedin, and he gathered you in, meaning you passed away with justice. V'asav lakim bedin, and he's going to ultimately sustain you with justice. Now, Ma'abrei Ravina, he was Messiah, but he would conclude this bracha Mishmei Rav Nachman with the following words: V'yidei mispol kulchem, and he knows the numbers of all of you. And he's going to ultimately bring you back alive. And to sustain you. Baruch Machaya Mason, blessed is the one who resuscitates, revives the dead. This is the bracha we make. You see this on the cemeteries. This is the bracha we make when you see, again, like all these halachas, Taisa says, it's only once every 30 days. If you made it within the past 30 days, you don't make a bracha. If someone sees the graves of idol worshippers, this is actually halacha. It says a pasuk in Yomia. You say the pasuk that embarrasses your mother, etc. Like we said, when you see the multitude, so too when you see a non-Jewish cemetery, you say that pasuk. Levi. Haraya eskaver, again, continuing the halachas of haraya. If someone sees his friend, so if it's la'achar shleishim yom, it's already 30 days. He says, Baruch shechiyanu v'kimanu v'giyanu lazman hazeh. Blessed is God that has kept us alive, sustained us, that we reached this time, that I could have the pleasure of seeing you. Now, Taisa points out, actually, that's halacha. It's only if he's a very, very good friend. But if it's not such a good friend, it would be a bracha l'batala. If you're going to say it with the shem and malchus, it should be only a very good friend. If you didn't see him in 30 days, then you make a shechiyanu. Now, let's say really 12 months you didn't see him. So then it's actually halacha. You say, Baruch Mechaya Mesim, blessed is the one who revives the dead. Why? Why say Mechaya Mesim? So Amar Rabbi explains, a dead person is not forgotten from the heart. Only after 12 months. Shnelik says the pasuk in Tehillim, Nishkachti, I was forgotten. Kemes, like a dead person milay from the heart. Hayisi kechlei ovid, I was like a lost vessel. So what do you see from this pasuk that a dead person is forgotten after 12 months, and therefore when you see someone after 12 months, it's like Mechaya Mesim? Because a vessel that's lost after 12 months is already forgotten from the heart. How do you know this? So this is the Gemara in Elam Metzias. There's halacha of yiur. When the owner gives up, then you could keep it. Now, that's after 12 months. How do we know it's after 12 months? Because the halacha is brought in Elam Metzias Chav Chesed Aleph. If someone finds a vessel or any lost object, the halacha is he has to announce it for Sholish Regalim. So let's say if he finds it right after Sukkot, he's going to have to wait till after Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, which that's the most 12 months, and then you don't have to call it out anymore. So you see that Kli Oived is only remembered, which for years is 12 months. That means to say, after that, it's forgotten. So when the pasuk appears being forgotten like a dead person, Kli Oived is after 12 months. So therefore, when you see a person you didn't see for 12 months, you're going to say the bracha of Mechaya HaMesim, like bringing back someone that was forgotten, like a dead person, back alive. Now the Gemara brings a story related to this halacha. There are Papa, Rav Hun B'di B'shu, these two Talmidei Chacham, they were going on the road. Pagu Bebe Rav Chanina, Berei Ravika, they encounter Rav Chanina, the son of Ravika. Amalei, they said to him, Bahadi de Chazinach, now that we see you, Barchina Lach Tarti, we can make two brachas on you. Baruch Hashachalik Mechachmas L'Reiv, blessed is Hashem that a portion from his wisdom to those who fear him, like Rav Chanina, who is very smart. And V'Shechiyanu, we can make the bracha of Shechiyanu because we didn't see you in 30 days. So Amalahu, he said to them, Anoname, me also. Since I saw you, you are compared to me like 600,000 Jews. I'm going to make three brachas on you. Hanach Tati, those two, because I didn't see you either in 30 days, and also you're also both sages. And also Baruch HaChamarazim, I'm going to make the bracha of that God is the sage of the secrets, because you're like, to me, you're like 600,000 people. Amalei said to him, Chakimas Kulehai, you're so smart? You have a bit like a smart aleck in that way. You have a be'enayu, they put their eyes on him, v'shachav, and he passed away because they held it was a bracha levatala because they weren't 600,000 people. Another teaching from Amr B'Shum Alevi, continuing these halachas of haraya. Haraya es habakonim. Someone sees someone that's spotted, see he has spots on him like lentils, which is like freckles. So Amr, he says, Baruch Mishan Habrias. Blessed is the one who is a God that makes different types of creatures. He diversifies his creatures. Now, the Mefarshim explain, and although this halacha l'maisa, it's not if it's normal to have freckles. Meaning, if you're in a place where it's not normal and suddenly this person has spots all over, he's speckled in that way, then you would make a bracha, Baruch B'Shan Abrias. However, on this halacha meisa, the Gemara asks on Yeshua and Lev in the following brisa. All these cases are halacha l'maisa. The brisa says, Ruas akushi. If someone sees someone who is very black, and again, these are only if in that location it's not normal. Or ve'es hagicher, or someone that's very red, like he has a very strong rose color. Or ve'es halavkan, you see someone that's very, very white. Or ve'es hakipeach, or someone either means someone that's obese, he has a very large stomach, and because he's so fat, he looks like that his height is truncated, is like missing. Or another interpretation, which is the same idea but very different, actually he's very thin and tall, and he's bent over, so he looks like he's like truncated means like you're missing something of your height. So it can look like it's missing either because when you're very fat, you don't even look like you have height, or because you're so tall and lanky that you're hanging over. So either way, they're both repulsive types of appearances. Or vesananas, or if someone's a dwarf. Or vesadrinikois, or someone either means, there's two interpretations brought, either means to say that his mouth is crooked, meaning he has like a cleft lip, or he has warts. You say the following bracha, Baruch Mishan Nesabris, blessed Hashem who created differences in his creatures. Continues the brisa. Esekiteya, let's say you see someone whose hands are amputated. He's missing his hands. Vesasuma, or blind person. Vespetuya haroish, or where his hair is all matted together like a piece of felt. It's just all attached to each other. Or vesachiger, or if his legs were amputated, he's missing his legs. Or vesamuka shchin, or if he's smitten with boils all over. Or veshabakonim, and this is where the question's coming from. Or someone who has spots all over him on his skin. You say Baruch Dain Emes. Blessed is the true judge when bad things happen. So, okay, these are all important halachas, but what we were asking for was, you said that a spotted person, you make Mashan Abriyas, we see you make a Baruch Dain Emes. Says Gemara like it's not difficulty. Ha mimei imoy. If it's from the mother's womb, he was born like this, then he says, the Mashan Es Abriyas, this Hashem made him differently. Ha basad is yalid. The Brisa was talking about that it happened after he was born. Then he had this condition where then his splotch come all over his skin. Then you make a baruch dayan emes, and that's actually the halacha l'maisa, where depending on what the condition came from, what the bracha is going to be. So too, a precise reading says the Gemara Diktani, because when you're reading the Brisa, it's dumi dikiteya. It has two categories the Brisa was talking about: the category of Mashana Brias and the category of Dayan Emes. Now, all the cases of Dayan Emes, we're talking about things that happened after the person was born. Kiteya is not that he was born without hands or without feet; it's that it was chopped off at a later point in time. It got amputated. Shemamino, you can infer that so too this case of having spots happened after he was born, and if you're going to make a Dayan Emes, but he was born like that, then you'd actually make a Mashana Brias. Turn we're in the Brisa, continue on these halachas. Haraya pill. If someone sees an elephant, you go to the zoo, you go to the circus, and kaif, or a monkey, or a kipov, or an owl. Rashi calls it a bird like a vulture, but it's like an owl where it has the cheeks and the jaws like a person. Oymi, you say Baruch Mashana Sabri. That's actually halach lamaisa. You say Blessed is Hashem who made differences in these creatures. Now, Ra Bris Taivis, again, but it's only for 30 days. Ra Bris Taivis, if someone sees beautiful creatures, Vilanas Taivis are beautiful trees. Oymi, he says, and this actually halacha, the custom is not to make it, and if you do without Shem Malchus, you don't say Hashem Elokeinu. Baruch blessed Shekachal Ba'alama, that there are such things that He made for him in His world, that God made such beautiful things. We thank Hashem for the beautiful creatures. Now we go back to the halacha of the Mishnah that said ala zikin. We said on zikin you can make the bracha shekoichik v'ras ma'olim, that His might and His strength fills up the whole world. So this is Gemara, my zikin, what are zikin that you can make this bracha of shekoichik v'rasai? Some Shmuley says it's koichva, it's a star, dishavet, that's like a rod. Mean to say, it's what's known as a shooting star or a meteor that shoots like an arrow in the sky from one place to another, and it's long like a rod because it's being shot. So it looks like as if the sky has opened up and it's going to shoot out. So you see it like it's in a line, so it's like a rod. So that's what's known as a shooting star. So if someone sees a shooting star, the halacha is lamaisa, you make a bracha, but actually the minhag is not to make a koichik v'rasa, it's to make a isa ma'isa v'reishis. But that you make a bracha on the shooting star. So too, related, Ba'amar Shmuel, who just said the halacha, says, Nehirin li shvili d'shmaya. Shmuel says, it's clear to me the paths in heaven, meaning he knows the whole cosmic world, k'shvili d'narda, like the paths in Narda where he lived. He says, Labar mekaych v'd'shav. He says, besides the shooting star, Deloya down on my knee, he says, I don't get it, I don't understand its path. But one thing we have a tradition is Deloy over Kisla. The shooting star does not pass through Kisla, meaning it doesn't pass the constellation, the zodiac of Ksil, when it's shooting through, when it's this koich v'deshavet. Because v'i over Kisla, if it would pass through Kisla, charv alma, the world would be destroyed. Now the Gemara asks, we see that a shooting star actually does pass through Kisla. We'll explain in a moment what this mazel of Kisla is. We see that it does pass through. So the Gemara says, no, zivehu da'avar. It's the shine, it's the glow of the shooting star that passes through. Umischazi k'dava. It looks like the star passes through, but the star doesn't pass through. It's the shine, it's the glow that passes through. Or another interpretation of Hudin B'Rei Vishuam, he says, according to Rashi, the Gemara is coming to explain what are zikin. It's going back to the original question. Taisa says, no, it sounds like it's the second out of three answers to explain. It looks like it's passing through Kisla. Shmuel says it doesn't. So the Gemara is giving a second answer that why it looks like it passes through. Again, there's two different interpretations, Rashi and Taisus. But either way, we'll go with Rashi. He says, what is this zikin that you make a bracha shekayich v'yasim? It's when viloin, the seven skies, when the lowest sky viloin, hu de mikareya, tears open. The Girsa takes out the word megalgal, umechzi, and then it appears that you could see noheri de rikia, you could see the sky of rikia, which is the sky right on top. So through the tear, it appears like a spear. When you see that, that's what the zikin is, and then you make this bracha of shekayich v'yasim ha'olam. Again, it's when the sky tears open, the bottom one, and you see like this spear-looking shape. That's the bracha of zikin. Rav Ashi Amar, now again, according to Rashi, this is going back, according to Taisus, the third of three interpretations of what do you mean? How could we say that this shooting star doesn't pass through Kisla? We see it does. So we gave one answer that says, no, it's only the glow. Here the Gemara is giving another answer. The reason why it looks like a star, the shooting star passes through, is because what happens is that one star gets uprooted, it jumps out from one side of Kisla. So it just like disintegrates. Now the star on the other side of Kisla sees that one got disintegrated, umivis, and the star on the other side gets scared, and therefore he shakes. Umichzi command the other, and therefore it looks like a star just passed through, because if you're looking on Kisla, you see on one side there's a star that disappears, and then you see a shaking one on the other side. So you get the appearance as if it just passed through and it got there, but it's not really the case. It's that one star just disintegrated, and the star on the other side of the kisla got afraid and started shaking, and therefore it looks like it passed through, but it didn't. Now the Gemara continues on this kisla. Shmuel Rami. Shmuel posed the following contradiction. Ksiv, on the one hand, there's a pasuk in Eve that says Hashem is Oisa Ash. He makes Ash, which is, we're going to explain one of the mazalis, these constellations, Kesil v'Kima. So we see in this pasuk that first Kesil came before Kima. Now Ksiv, there's a pasuk in Amos that says Oisa Kima v'Ksil, but that in this order, Kima is coming before Ksil, in the opposite. So how do we understand this? So that says Shmuel, this obviously comes to teach us that they have equal value. Which is, if not for the heat of Ksil, meaning this Ksil, it has dominion. That's what the zodiac is, that's what astrology is, this is what all these things are. It has dominion in the summer months. So therefore, in that pasuk, it puts Ksil first, because if not for the heat of Ksil, the world would not be able to withstand because of the coldness, the frigidity of Kima. And so to the opposite, if not for the coldness of Kima, which Kima it has dominion in the winter months, therefore the pasuk puts it first over there. If not for the cold of Kima, the world will not be able to withstand because of the heat of Ksil. Moreover, we have a tradition. If not for the tail of the scorpion, which Rashi points out, we're not talking about Scorpio, which is a different one of the mazalas. We're talking about this akriv is Kima. And we'll shortly explain, it's actually from the zodiac of Aries, which is the Tle, which is the ram. There's 12 zodiac for the 12 months of the year. And if not for the tail of the scorpion, which again is part of Kima, which is part of which is Kima, which is part of the Mazel of Tle, if it wasn't the Manach ben Har Diner, if it wasn't placed in the stream of the fire, which weakens the strength of this scorpion, which is what we really call in Kima, then Kol Man Davatrikale Akraba, whoever would be bitten by a scorpion, lo have a chaya, he would not live. And behind the Kamal Rachman Leave, going back to the idea that we said before, that we need Kima and Ksil to counterbalance each other because one is too cold, one is too hot. This is what Hashem said to Eve when he was telling him and mocking him. He says, what, you know what I do? Could you do the things that I do? Hasekasher, could you tie madanis, the bonds of Kima, of the cold, meaning to say that it should not go out and just freeze the whole world? Or the shackles of the heat of Ksil, Tepater, could you loosen, to open it up, to defrost the frigidity of Kima? In other words, you can't do that, and God could do that because He has to counterbalance the cold and the hot from these two mazalas. So the Gemara says, my Kima, what's this Kima? We said that it's one of the mazalas. Why is it called Kima? So Amar Shmuel says, actually, Kameya Koichvi. The word Kima is Kameya Koichvi, like 100 stars there are in this mazal of Kima, which is the thrust and the strength of Kima. That's where it's called Kima. Amrila, some say that these 100 stars, the Mechanfi, are gathered together, and that's the strength of Kima. And some say the Mavadrin, that they're actually scattered apart, these 100 stars. Now, my Ash, we mentioned that pasuk before, that God makes Ash, Ksil, and Kima. So Amr Yehuda, he says it's Yoisa, my Yoisa. So Amrila, some say that this Yoisa is in the Znav Tlet, in the tail of the ram. Again, the ram is the way the zodiac works is that the stars look like a certain picture. And that's how they call that mazel that is in the sky. So there's one mazel that's in the month of Nisan, that's the Tlez, the ram. In the tail of the ram is this Ash, which is called this Yaisa. Now, Ramala, some say it's actually in Reisha de Egla. It's in the head of the bull, which that's the mazel of Shar, which is known as Taurus. That's actually right after the mazel of Tle. So the head of the ox is right after the tail of the ram. So therefore, this Ash is somewhere in the middle. We're not sure, is it in the tail of the ram or is it in the head of the ox? The order is the ram, the bull, and then comes Gemini, which is the twins. Those are the mazalis of the months. Now, says the Gemara, it's logical, like the one who says that it's the tail of the ram. That's these stars that are made like a tail. Why? Because the Chsibah says the pasuk in Iyah, Va'ayish, which is this Ash that we're talking about, Al Beneha, on her sons, Tanachim, could you comfort her? Alma, we see that Chasr, we see that Ash is missing her sons, meaning some of her stars are missing. Now says the Gemara, Meschazia, and that tail of the ram appears as we continue to talk about the Testament of, which obviously we're going to explain that that's what Ash is, that's missing stars in the tail of the ram, a kitar for the tarif, that it's looking like it's missing something, and as if like you have a piece of metal and you bang it so that it should get flattened out, that it should look like it's not missing, or the word the tarif means that it could be combined together like pieces, so you see that is the Ush, because Ush is missing stars. It's not comforted that it's missing its sons. That's in the tail of the ram, because we see that the tail of the ram is looks like it's missing something, like as if it was banged together, trying to fill up the hole. It says the Gemara, why? What's it referring to? Because the also this that Ayish, which is the tail, is going Basra after Kima, which is the body of the tela of the ram, is because the Amrla, the tail, is telling to the body, Havli Bana, give me my sons, meaning my 2 stars that were taken from me. What does that mean? So the Gemara explains, because when God wanted to bring the flood to the world in the times of Noach, he took 2 stars from Kima, which is the mazel of Tla, and he brought a flood to the world. Now, when he wanted to fill up the hole, which from the 2 stars that he took out, he took 2 stars from Ayish, which again the Gemara is proving is from this tail, from this nava that's left from the tail of the ram. Therefore, it's missing. Therefore, when you look at it from the to the sky, you'll see that it looks like it's lacking. And he filled it up the hole from the tail. Says Gemara, why did he do that? Well, why didn't God just return to Kima the stars itself that he originally took and put it back in? Says the Gemara, 2 answers. Either you cannot fill up a pit from its own earth that you took out from it, so that he couldn't fill it up from there. Or inami, another interpretation is the prosecutor cannot become the defendant. The stars that he took to destroy the world, he can't put it back in for the world to continue running. But says the Gemara, why didn't you just make 2 new stars? What do you have to remove from the tail? Says the Gemara, pasuk in Kehalis, there's nothing new underneath the sun. Once he created the world, does not make any new creations. Now, Rabbi Nachman, he says, God will ultimately return those 2 stars that he took from the tail of the ram, which is this Ush that we said, that is Navadat, which is from Kima. Shenemak says, Ayish, and this Ayish, which is the tail of the ram, Al Baneh Tanachim, on its sons, God will ultimately comfort. Then again, this understanding of the constellations, that there's these 2 main 12 mazalis. In there's different groupings of constellations, and that's what we're talking about, this Ayish that God makes. Besides the Ksil and the Kima, which is the hot and the cold, he makes also these other mazalis. So some of the ideas we spoke about today in Beruchas Daf and Ches, we continue with the curse of Bavel, which we spoke about in the previous Daf, that we said that not only Bavel gets destroyed, also the towns and the nations around it, in contrast to the Shamron. By the Jewish people, God turns it into places of vineyards, so although the Jewish people are not settled, but actually is a benefit for all those nations around Eretz Yisrael. We spoke about that when one sees groups of Jewish people, he says, Baruch Hacham Arazmi, blesses God that he's the sage of the secrets, like we find by Yishai, he went with Uchlas Yisrael. And the reason is because their thoughts are different, and still God knows every single person's thoughts. Also, we said that it does not apply in Bavel, and there's also not less than 600,000 people. We said when you see Uchlas Akum, you see 600,000 non-Jews, you say Boisha Imchem, that your mother is embarrassed in that whole pasuk. Ben Zayma said that Kol Elu Shamsheni, says all this was created for me, and he's like the good guest who says how much effort the host put in for me, and that's how much effort he said other Marishan had to put in. Look, I have it all in front of me, how great it is that what I have. He says if someone sees a Jewish sage, he says Shachalak Mechachmas L'Rev, that God portioned from his wisdom to those who fear him, by the Jewish kings is similar, Shachalak Mikvoid L'Rev. By the non-Jewish sage, he says Shanasa Mechachmas Libri Yosef. And by the non-Jewish kings, he says Shanasa Mechavoid Libri Yosef. So different Shachalak Shanasan. We said we're a Chelik Kamamal, versus by them it's Shanasa. Then we said also, talking about the Jewish and the non-Jewish kings, we said you should run to see kings, even non-Jewish kings, because then you'll merit. When you see the Melech HaMashiach, you'll see how great is that disparity. You'll be like, wow, how great is that honor in contrast to the kings over here. We brought a story with Rav Sheshes regarding seeing the king to make the bracha, and he knew better than Saduki. He says, Loi Baruch Hashem, Loi Barash Hashem, Loi Beish Hashem. It was by the Kol Mamadaka, that's when God is, because Malchus de Arke, Malchus de Rukia, the government here, the kingship here is just like the kingship up there in heaven. As the Gemara brought another story that he said, oh, blessed is God, that's why I sing the Pasuk, Hashem Agdula, that he made governments here like he makes governments up there, and therefore that's how he got saved from that Pasuk, which then the Gemara brought 2 interpretations of L'cha Hashem Agdula, the whole Pasuk, and interesting, L'cha L'Reish is even Reish Gagusni, someone gets a position of leadership, even just to take care of who gets to sit where, it's already considered and already decided by Hashem. That's l'chol l'reish. We said when you see the houses of Jewish people, when they're settled, you make a bracha matzav gvul almana, that he settles the boundaries of the widow. And when you see the non-Jewish houses that are settled, you say base game yisach Hashem, the house of the arrogant God should destroy. When you see Jewish houses that are destroyed, you make a dayan emes, and non-Jewish houses that are destroyed, you say kel nekamas Hashem, kel nekamas efiyah. We wrote a story regarding that they saw a Jewish house that was destroyed, And he said from the time the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, there's a gzera on the house of the righteous that they be destroyed. And he ultimately told them, because the servant should not be better than the master. If the master's house is destroyed, so too should the servants. But ultimately it'll be returned like Kahar Tzion. That's what it says in the pasuk Aboitchem Hashem. If you see Jewish graves, you say the bracha Shayatz Eschem Adin, like we know, we say that halach l'maisa. Non-Jewish graves, you say Baisha Imchem. Someone sees his friend after 30 days, he makes the Shechayanu. Taisa says it has to be a very good friend. And after 12 months, he makes the bracha Mechaya Mason, because we said like a dead person is forgotten like a Kli Ovid. After 12 months, that's what you're saying here by the person that you didn't see in 12 months. Say Meshana Brias by like elephants and monkeys. That again is so too by people, only if it was born like that, congenital. But if, let's say, it was after he was born, then you make a die in the emes. As we said, other things that bad happen to a person, that his hands get amputated or whatever, you make the bracha die in the emes. You see beautiful trees and creatures, you say shekachale b'lamai, that such beautiful things are here in God's world. We said in the Mishnah that when you see zikin, you make a bracha shekaychik v'rasam ala olam. What is zikin? So it's either a kaych v'deshavet, a shooting star, or it's vilan de mekareya umechzin nahar de rekir krayimach, is when the lowest sky gets torn open and you see like it looks like a spear, which is because you're seeing the appearance of the sky on top of it. You say that bracha. Now, additionally, we said that by the shooting star, it never passes through kisla. It's either only its glow, or it's actually the other star that gets scared off, so it reacts, so it looks like, but really one just disintegrated, the other one just shook. We said that ksil and kima are the same. That's why there's two psukim putting one before one the other. The chama is the heat that counterbalances the cold of kima. Kima is called kima because it's like 100 stars. Some say that they're together, some say that they're separate. When we mentioned the pasuk, that pasuk we brought, ksil and kima, we brought also the mazel of Ash. So machlekes, is it in the tail of the ram or the head of Taurus? So the Gemara says logical to say that it's from the tail of the ram, because it says va'asha b'nei tenachim, which is that it's mourning, it lost its sons, and we see when you look at the tail of the ram, you see that it looks like it's missing, that it's like trying to be hammered together. That's because it's going after kima, which is the body of the ram, to return the two stars that God took. When it took the mabul, it took from the body, then it took from the tail to put back, and therefore the tail is like chasing the body to get back its two stars. I wanted to just go ahead and make new stars. Why don't you return the original stars? That's either because so you cannot fill up from what you took out from it itself, and also we couldn't make new stars because or because you can't take the prosecuting stars and put them back in for the world to run. Thank you to any time for hosting us.